Okay, so again, I think that, I've covered a lot as of late in relation to my understanding of the nature of reality, but not only the nature of reality, just my understanding of my personal self, and also experiences that I've been through, and trying to find the path back to my true being from those experiences. So harnessing myself, my present my present self is definitely key and vital to most of the content that I do make, right? And now in this world, as I said before, there is people that do tend to operate on the level where they use manipulation, which is right within their cause, um, or ultimately could just be in one's own consciousness based on one's content of consumption, the way that we can experience our perception of reality. But for me personally, I have to know myself and I have to know how to find the path to my true self, regardless of what happens in the future, which is a dynamic, ever changing thing in which people might try to make static in one sense or another, but it's always dynamic and changing. And so, also taking into consideration my past, which is the mechanism that brings into being this current organism that I am at this present moment in time, right? And so, what is it through my experiences if I remove everything about everybody besides my parents, everybody who has ultimately, my true parents who have ultimately been around me? What is it that defines the mindset that I feel that I have and that I feel as though that I've used, regardless of whether or not I'm making the wrong choices? We make wrong choices based on our understanding of knowledge, but the mindset that fuels our intention of those decisions is the same regardless of the environment or regardless of the outcome or understanding of the principles of which, or the understanding of the objectives of the environment that you're currently in. So for me, I found those things, and to me, you know like, I feel as though that I definitely have great power within my spirit. So like, as I sleep nowadays, as the dreams become more vivid, I find myself being able to utilize specific things. So I can say the tetragrammaton in my dreams when I find myself in a difficult situation, which is kind of weird. Um, so yeah, so that's definitely one of the key things. So like, it was actually just recently, like last night, I was having a dream, and in one of them, I pretty much used it to get through a dark spot. And then I sort of, it's just really weird. So I can actually say he or he, or when I need it, and I'm consciously aware of that. So that's something beautiful, but there's a lot that encompasses a multitude of my understanding of what reality is and the concepts of it. But for me, to find myself to my true self, if I ever find myself lost, I know that I can find the core of myself, you know, using these three books, which I feel define who I am as an individual and who will always, never, ever let me down, regardless of whatever environment I find myself in. Um, so there's these three books that I have here, which I feel completely outline my overall being as a human being, and these are the most valuable books that I have in my current possession at this present moment in time. And they probably what underpins most of who I am. And it will see me through most, if not anything, that I experience in this world, regardless of time and period. So the first one is the Kybalion, which basically, this book underpins the uh, Hermetic philosophy, right? So I don't know if you know about what a hermit is and all that type of stuff. I'm not really in regards to that, but then I think that this overall underpins the majority of that. So the Kybalion is key because it unlocks the core fundamentals of my interaction with my environment. Not only my interaction with my environment, but it gives me the core principles to understand and never forget the concepts of nature, right? And this book covers a lot. As you can see here, regardless of time period or technology, everything would be encompassed within that, and it's actually just extrapolating that and imbuing the necessary understanding. Even with this, I can understand any holy book, understand the concepts and the philosophies behind it, the majority of it, but I definitely value it greatly. It's one of my, like, out of, I have a lot of very interesting books, and these are some of the fundamental ones that make up the core of who I am and my interest in reality. The second one is the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. Interesting book, very great, but it's a necessity because while the Kybalion builds on the fundamentals of reality, the fundamentals of existence, this book here builds on the aspects of actually interacting with those fundamental principles, like how to actually harness and utilize that energetic mechanism. This one here is about understanding it and encompassing it in essence, while this here is about and utilizing it, but this one here is about making effective or utilizing it effectively, right? So that's the key thing here in this particular book, is about utilizing those principles effectively and in line with how to get the most out of those particular situations and scenarios, right? I hope that makes some logical sense. It's more so about utilization, but it's more so about utilization, but more so it's about effective utilization of those skill sets in line with other organisms where necessary, or in line with whatever the initial aspects are. So, you know, principles, and this is more so a level of stratagem, but it's not only limited to strategy. It's limited to a whole host of things. As you can see here, it composes a number of different things, and with this it'll actually help you quite a lot. So it's like the ground book, the water book, the fire book, and the wind book, and the book of the void. And with that, it's amazing stuff, including also aspects of Miyamoto's life, which you can then use to better understand how to operate within society, right? How to operate within that society, how to operate within that beingness, right? So you understand this one here doesn't talk about any reference to living, nor does it provide any instructional mechanisms, but only enables you to have an adequate understanding of the experience of reality that you're currently in. Whereas this one here would help you actually understand how to navigate that reality and that particular experience. So for me, it's amazing. There's a bit where they talk about Ronin. So one useful thing is, like, for example, if you find yourself in a situation where you've been fired due to AI stuff or whatever the case may be, you know, it talks about Ronin, and basically Ronin are them type of individuals who themselves were made redundant by aspects of society, but felt the need to stay true to the skills and the attributes that they themselves had actually determined as a methodology for their own particular aspect of reality, you know, which is the key fundamental thing to most, if not anything, that we find in our overall societal being. So that's what Ronin were, and they stayed true to those particular skill sets, and those skill sets ultimately gave them the ability to Yeah, those skill sets basically gave him kendo, the way of the sword. You know, they stayed true to their art. So, for example, for me, it'll be more so staying true to what I enjoy doing, rather than focusing not so much on the job and things of that nature, but doing it because I love it. So maybe you might get made redundant in terms of like maths, for example, right? So the calculator would have made a lot of mathematicians redundant, but those that actually enjoyed maths actually just continued doing it because they actually enjoyed it, and then through that methodology they probably invented either some new equation or discovered a new methodology of actually taking our forward. But they enjoyed the beauty of numbers, and so they probably used it to create creative graphics, you know, things of that nature, um which or to create art and symmetry and things like that. But it's basically that's what that ultimately entails. And this one here is the Universal One, which is the Universal One book that underpins all, if not most things. And this one here is more so focused to the love of God, to the love of consciousness. You know, it goes beyond. It encompasses these other two books, and I like the way that the shape, the sizes as well. Like the sizes matter. The way that they, you know, like one is encompassing the other, you know, which is, and you can even see it here as well, you know. You know, this is consciousness. This is the square encompassing that consciousness, and this is the triangle, the three, you know, that are the universal thing that encompasses everything, and you find it all encompassed within the circle of consciousness. I just made that up right now, but I feel that that's valid, you know, because that's what it is. That's what it, if you see this here, it actually honors, you know, if these two are focused on the being experiencing the thing, this is more so experiencing reality. This is more so focused on the overall nature of that thing, which is everything combined together. You can even see here that the circle as well is still there, but it's more so enhanced in such a beautiful way, you know. And I think that's one of the amazing things about this, man. If I could show you the contents page, I couldn't find the contents page of this motherfucker, man. The contents page of this book ain't nowhere to be found, yo. You know, and I think that's why I love it as well, and that's why I find beauty in it. Sort of to the one God, the Universal One, this book is humbly dedicated. You know, it's beautiful. There's a message in it. Publisher's preface that sort of goes into depth around this. This book is old as well. Like we're talking, it's over 100 years old. Actually, now it's off. It's off by a couple of, by like 5 years, maybe. No, 4 years. So it's off by 4 years. In 4 years, it'll be 100 years old. You know, it goes into depth. It states that yeah, this book is copyrighted in 1926, but I've got it in 1927 here. No part of this book can be printed in any form without permission in writing from the University of Science and Philosophy, except by a reviewer who may quote brief passages in a review to be printed in the magazine or newspaper. Well, you know, I ain't meant to be showing shit, but I'm like, yo, bro, you know what? YouTube is good enough. Is good enough. So, you know, and I ain't gonna show much. I ain't gonna show too much. But trust me, man, the book says like the prelude or preface. We call these prefaces, they call it prelude. And you know, it just the supreme service which man can render to evolving man is to answer for him dynamically the great heretofore unanswerable questions concerning the one universal force which man calls God or mind or by other names, right? So this is actually like the external bit, man, the component, the God bit, whereas this bit, these two here are more composed on on what God has created and how to experience the creation that God has created, right? So that's that. Just and gonna go here. So let's see where we're gonna start. The contest page is hefty though. It's not. I've never seen it, but like I didn't see the contest page before acquiring this book. But let's show one side though. See this, yeah, this side here. So this is the initial contents. You know, you've got thinking mind, you got the life principle, you got mind and the universal substance, sex principle, sex opposites of light, the reproductive principle, energy transmutation. It's got all sorts of interesting stuff here, but it's amazing. So that's book 1, and then there's book 2, and so on, which has other interesting mechanisms. Book 2 is more so the ingenuity of it, I suppose. You can see the beauty in this, man. This book is amazing. You know, you can see here in the first page. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is, man. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. How can you not love this, man? You know, how could you have this and not value it? And that's a lot of stuff on there, man. So to me, that's one of my, you know, periodicity is an absolute characteristic of all phenomenon of nature. Which is true. Counts up to 4. The Russell periodic chart of atomic weights, electromagnetic charge, gravitation, radiation, sex, temperature, electric, and magnetic pressures, variance, ionization, and other periodicities. And it has here John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was nothing made which was made. That's some fucking beautiful shit, man. Like, I can show you, you know, it's more so just, see, this is parts that shouldn't be shown, but yeah, that's the next print there. And, you know, it has definitions here, here, yeah, where it's talking about particularly mind, and the one universal substance. Mind is the universe. It is all that is, ever was, or ever will be. Mind is a substance, a material substance. The substance of mind is the foundation of creation. That, bro, like, I don't. So to me, these are the books that I hold, that I hold true and dear to my heart. And I know that with these books, although there's knowledge that I might not have, right, that can be used against me, but with these I'll be able to counter that given the appropriate amount of time and given the appropriate understanding regarding this, you know. And I think this would be definitely helpful for me or anyone, you know, trying to experience reality in ways that are unfathomable to most. And like I said, right, the size of them completely matters, right? The size of the books completely matters, right? So this one here is more so God, the experience. This is the universe, right? This one here concerns the universe, right? As I said before, and this one here is more so one's own individual being, and this one here is how to get the most out of the world that we live in, and to not only that, but to also protect yourself and effectively utilize this technology in the best shape or manner possible, i.e., the technology of beingness. And you can see that the Kybalion symbol ultimately represents what it is that I'm ultimately saying in the scenario. You know, and that's pretty much that. I'm probably gonna write a blog post about that at some point in time. But yeah, man, just wanted to share these. Oh, yeah, that's it. What number is that? I don't know what number that is. That's and that's, yeah, man. That's pretty much it, really. What I wanted to share regarding my understanding of reality. I hate when I'm making videos and I always get fucking interrupted by something or somebody or some nature or something. Because when I have to fucking cut it, it becomes more. It becomes more like when I have to cut it, then it ends up being like a bigger size video, which I don't want to do in most instances. Because then I have to use more data. I don't really have internet at the moment, going through hard times. So I have to work through data, and I don't want to have to use more data than I have to in order to upload a video. So that's why I hate that, because sometimes it can come up like 4 or 5 times more than the actual video itself, which is quite complicated. Yeah, it can be quite complicated because sometimes it can be like the original video might be like, you know, like 10 megabytes, and the next thing I know it's like 500 megabytes or something when I've had to crop and render it, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, so that's that. I hope that was somewhat insightful, and I hope if I am ever lost and I find this video, and I hope I utilize that, I hope that shit that I'm probably just gonna have to crop fucking. Yeah, so I hope that was somewhat insightful, and I hope that that helps in some regard. And nobody can ever take this from me, because if they try to do that, I will think about these are my prized possessions, which I will take and carry with me anywhere that I find myself, not temporarily, and yeah, that's pretty much it. These are my books. These are the books that make me me, and that make me who I am, and that truly help me in most instances. So God, world, and my being and me is the key thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, and the more I indulge in this, because I know that, like, obviously there's been things in my past that have been put there to deter me from being who I have to be, and who I am, and things that have actually hindered or made it worse for me to find my true self, my true path, and achieve the greatness that I feel that I deserve, or that I wish to attain in this reality. And you know, and it's my job to be able to put that right and fix that to the correct understanding. And I feel as though, and I feel as and I feel as though these books here truly help me do that, and truly help me sort of achieve that to some degree, shape or form, whatever the scenario I may find myself in. I feel as though they'll definitely assist me, because it's a war thing out here, man. People don't really know it, but it's what's going on. So that's how we gotta sort of that's how we gotta sort of handle it and deal with it in one regard or another. We gotta get to that mindset and realign everything to what it should be, so that we can be who we're supposed to be, and actually assist and contribute do whatever it is that we're supposed to. Hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoyed that, and take care. I hope you found this helpful. Like, share, comment, or whatever you feel like doing, or subscribe mainly. I think it'll be the key thing for more insightful hints and stuff.